What's going on, everybody? UCF Jaguar back with GenJag.com, and the Jaguars are about at the halfway point in the season. They are bye-week falls after playing 7 games. They are currently sitting at 4-3, which is very exciting given what Jaguar fans thought before the season. But the Jaguars are in a good position right now. Their next 5 games are all against sub-500 teams. But for now, I just want to do kind of a review, like a half-season review of where the Jaguars are right now and what they need to do to be able to reach the next level. So let's get it. A lot of people might look at the Jaguars roster and say, how did you guys think you're going to be bad? You have so much talent, especially on the defense. It can only lead to a lot of wins. But the thing is, as a Jaguar fan, every offseason we're pretty much crowned offseason champions. We go and throw a bunch of money out in free agency. We go out and draft some really good players. But that usually brings us down to getting about 3 to 4 to 5 wins. This offseason really didn't seem much different. We went through and signed Calais Campbell, AJ Boye, Barry Church, even Brandon Albert, who's not on the team right now. And then we went and drafted guys like Leonard Fournette and Cam Robinson. But while there was a little bit of turnover at the top, they brought in Tom Coughlin as the Executive Vice President of Football Operations. Then they bring in Doug Marrone, as the head coach. But you look around and, the offense coordinator is the same, the defensive coordinator is the same. So, you really wonder, how much different this team is going to be. And then this year, unlike past years we've had pretty good preseason. We go through and we pretty much look exactly how you want the Jaguars to look. And then it doesn't really lead to much. But this year, the preseason happened, and we looked awful. We looked like one of the worst teams in the NFL. Our O-line couldn't block for anybody. Our rush defense looked pretty bad, even though our defense, a lot of the starters weren't even out there. AJ Boye and Jalen Ramsey really never even saw the field. But we just didn't look like a very good team, and Jaguar fans are all too used to being the same old Jaguars. But then week 1 of the NFL season came when we traveled to Houston to play the Texans, and this Texans game was huge. It really just showed how dominant our defense was, and it was some foreshadowing for how well Fournette was going to do. The defense went out there and got 10 sacks against the Houston Texans, and there's no doubting that this Jacksonville Jaguar defense is nasty. We have so many playmakers out there with, AJ Boye, Jalen Ramsey, Miles Jack, Telvin Smith. You've got Deshaun Gibson, Barry Church, Calais Campbell, Dante Fowler Jr., Yannick Ngakoue, Malik Jackson. Now we have Marcel Darius. We have so many playmakers on this team. You look at some of the stats. This year, the Jaguars had 10 total interceptions. Last year, we only had 7 interceptions. You go to the sack game. Last year, we had 33 sacks. This year, we already matched that amount with 33 sacks. And it's led by guys like Calais Campbell, who has 10 sacks on the season. Already broke a single-season career sack record. And he's on his pace to get over 20 sacks. We've also got guys like Yannick Ngakoue, 6.5 sacks. We have Dante Fowler Jr., 5.5 sacks. It's crazy to see some of the production from Dante Fowler Jr. after the first 2 years of his career were pretty rough. After getting that ACL tear, being out for the year. Last year came, he just didn't seem like he was very polished as a pass rusher, but this year, he's a totally different player, and he looks like that guy that we drafted with a 3rd overall pick of the 2015 draft. But I really don't think that there's a better team in the NFL than the Jaguars with a lead. Once the Jaguars get a lead and they force other teams to have to pass the ball, that's when these blowouts start happening. That's when these turnovers start. That's when these sacks start to come in. Jaguars have 2 out of their 7 games, they've had 10 sacks. The last team to do that was the 1984 Chicago Bears. This defense is nasty, and this defense, once you put this team in a passing situation, they start killing it. I mean, all 4 of their victories have come in absolutely blowout fashion. You know what I mean? They go and take the Texans, 10 sacks. Next, when they play the Ravens, they force Joe Flacco to 28 passing yards. Then, they play big Ben Roethlisberger. They forced the dude to throw 5 interceptions. This last game, they had another 10-sack performance. This team is just nasty, and like once this team gets a lead, it seems like it's pretty much game over. But then you go to the offensive side of the ball. The offense has pretty much been revolving around Leonard Fournette. Leonard Fournette, through 6 games, has 596 rushing yards, 6 touchdowns, so he's averaging about 100 yards a game and a touchdown per game. This was a huge draft pick for us to really be able to bring in like a bruiser. Leonard Fournette is a beast. He can go in there and either truck a guy or he can get you on a little spin move, and he can even hurt you out in space in a passing game. So far this season, Leonard Fournette has the 2 fastest speeds in the NFL off of like scoring plays. This guy is just fast. Like I just don't understand how this guy has such high speeds when he's like 230 pounds. This guy is beating guys like Tyreek Hill and Deshaun Jackson, skinny dudes like that. Like, he has faster speeds than them. I really think Leonard Fournette is Offensive Rookie of the Year right now. You can make the argument for like a guy like Kareem Hunt or something like that, but in my opinion, Leonard Fournette means a lot more to the Jaguars offense than Kareem Hunt does to the Chiefs offense. You take out Leonard Fournette and the Chiefs, and Kareem Hunt from the Chiefs, and I think the Jaguars just have a totally different offense. So you look at this Jacksonville Jaguar team and you wonder, what is holding this team back? Obviously, they have a great defense, a great run game, but one thing that's very, very questionable is number 5, the player under center, Blake Bortles. Now, he's having a better season this year than last year, as he's not playing great, but he's also not playing super awful. He has a 58.7% completion percentage, 9 touchdowns to 5 interceptions, about a 2-to-1 touchdown to interception ratio. And Blake Bortles, his role with this team is to basically just not lose the game for us. He hasn't had like many diminishing interceptions this year. He hasn't had a pick 6 this year. He's playing like a lot smarter, but he is a lot more shy when it comes to like throwing the ball. But the thing about Blake is, you can hope that he doesn't lose you a game all you want. However, you just don't know if he'll ever be able to win you a game. We are really yet to see Blake Bortles be able to put a team on his back and drive down the field in like a game-winning touchdown manner. Much like Derek Carr did a couple Thursday night games ago against the Kansas City Chiefs. There are some positive things about Blake. First off, he's probably had his 2 best games of his career this year against the Ravens and against the Colts. So that's a positive sign. He's looked like he was, a little bit more comfortable last Sunday against the Colts. So I do expect him to start opening up the pass game a little bit more for him, so we can start, not getting these like 8-man boxes. But we'll see what the Jaguars coaches do going forward. But one thing that is damaging this passing game greatly is the absence of Allen Robinson. Allen Robinson is an absolute animal. He's a guy that you can just throw a 50-50 ball up to, and he can make it like a 70-30 kind of thing. This year, Marquise Lee is kind of struggling to really be that number 1 receiver. He's kind of getting a little bit of struggle, like getting separation, and he's definitely not a guy that will be able to go up and like catch a 50-50 ball. It's just not the kind of wide receiver he is. But we do have D.D. Westbrook coming back, and I expect him to be more of the over-the-top kind of player, and Marquise Lee to be the guy more to like, you can use on bubble screens to kind of get through and maneuver his way around like traffic. But when you look at the Jaguars, the reason why the Jaguars are so great right now and playing so great, I shouldn't say we're great. We're 4-3, but we're definitely exceeding a lot of Jaguar fans' expectations and its national expectations. But the reason why we are playing the way we are is just because we have an elite defense and we have a good running game. The defense is just sick. I went through the stats earlier. Anytime like the defense is on the field, like I get excited. I feel like we could even like score at any play. It's just super exciting watching these guys fly around. We have a lot of big names out there, a lot of big playmakers, and you've seen great defenses lead teams to Super Bowls before. The 2013 Ravens, the 2015 Denver Broncos. Neither of those teams had really great offenses, but they had great defenses, and that's what really led them there. Combined with, they definitely had some offensive production in the postseason, but it was definitely just led there by their defense. But the Jaguars are 4-3 right now, and one optimistic standpoint looking forward is that the next 5 games the Jaguars play teams that are under 500. And just the Jaguars have one of the easiest schedules left in the NFL, so Jaguars, hopefully we can take care of business. Hopefully we can win this division and have our first home playoff game since 1999. But with all that said, this is your boy UC to the F Jaguar with your boys from GenJag.com. Go Jaguars, and I'm out.
Jags Nation, Savage season, we here. That boy Booger Mason. And I'm dropping the mic.